Welcome to Cantina Vizsla. For the safety of the bartenders and any other patrons, remember to keep all arms, legs, tentacles, or any other extremities you may have to yourself at all times. So come right in, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Coming to you from the Panic Room in the crap part of the cantina, I'm Sparrow, and with me, as always, is a man who some say the only reason he isn't on YouTube is because people couldn't handle the amount of salt he gives his trees. All I know is I call him Stan.
Not just the people, but like the homeowners association, general public, all of it. They just have something against me, I think.
Hey, those algorithms are out to get you. You would never be trending or anything like that. They'd be like, no, this guy, his comments, way out there. We aren't allowed. People can't see that.
Story of my life. Never trending.
Oh, man. Speaking of trending. Oh, the Game of Thrones ending. Oh.
We survived. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with the ending. I guess we'll talk about it a little bit now. Yeah, it was never going to satisfy everybody. I think my biggest problem, it was kind of, I think what a lot of people expected, maybe the big story beats, but I think my biggest problem with it is the math makes sense. They 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4, and we're used to that. But with these last couple of seasons, it's just like, well, 1 + 3, now we're at 4, and you just kind of got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's...
Did you kind of get that impression too?
Yeah, basically I got the same impression. They went through, Martin gave them the bigger outline of everything, and they did the bigger outline, but they really did not connect the points. I could see where they were going. I could see where some of the points were going. My big thing was you go through and you set up certain characters, and then everything leading up to that point, and then they get to the end, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. They went through all that earlier.
Yeah.
Like Arya. Hey, Arya was trained assassin. Did that account for anything? No.
Well, yeah, I'd say it did. She killed the Night King. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, they're in that battle, but not anything to do with the last episode or anything. Last 2 episodes. Yeah. It's like, hey, I did all this training so I could go through and kill people, and I don't kill anybody. Bran became became the three-eyed raven, and all he does is and goes through and learns how to warg, and his big thing is, I know the history of things. And the last episode, all of a sudden, gets a personality all of a sudden.
Right, and then he's all like, hey, I need my Master of Whisperers. No, you don't.
Yeah. It just seemed very odd. I understand the big plot points they went through. I could see where they're getting at, but I don't know. The other thing is,
I think the biggest thing with Bran is, they see him rolling and they hating.
He brought his own chair. He brought his own throne. Yeah. But the only thing I would say other than that is really what got me into Game of Thrones was kind of the House of Cards aspect of it, in which it was political intrigues, political back maneuvers to go through to try to get what you wanted. And the last few seasons, there were really none of that. All of a sudden,
it was all the payoff for all the machinations.
Yes, and there was none of that in the last couple seasons. So I'm really, really, really excited and interested to see when the books come out to actually see where some of this, there has to be political maneuvering in the background and everything to try to get to some of these points.
Well, I'm just hoping that they'll be able to get the new books to the Moon Outpost, because we'll have that thing set up before these books come out.
Oh yeah, maybe even Mars.
Yeah, really. Actually, what I really want is a 4K DVD set extended edition, kind of like they did with the Lord of the Rings. Throw in some deleted scenes, kind of add in some stuff to the last few seasons, tie some more loose ends up. I think it'd be good with that.
The problem is, I don't think they would ever do that because
They probably.
no, they were offered to do that. The producers were offered to do 2 or 3 more episodes this season. They were offered whether they wanted to do 2 or 3 seasons. They said, "Oh, we can do it in 2." So it just seemed like they were over the show, unfortunately, and we're just trying to wrap it up.
Well, yeah. In other news, other TVs coming back. Black Mirror is coming back, and I can't wait for that.
I really need to start watching that.
So good.
Yeah, I just never really got into it, but I've been watching the newer Chernobyl show.
Yeah, I've heard that's it's pretty depressing too.
I don't know whether I would call it depressing. It's historical fiction of how they went through and dealt with everything after Chernobyl. So it's not Chernobyl blowing up and seeing how everything led up to that. It's the after effects and people coping with that, part cover up, part misinformation and everything to go along with that, and how they went through to you fix one thing and create another problem, which, and yeah, nuclear meltdown. Yep, that's pretty much. You have to solve one immediate issue and then you run into 3 to 4 other issues because of that.
I think it would be, I kind of know the background of Chernobyl, but my, I guess, memory and internal narrative of the story has been so impacted by video games. So really all I know about Chernobyl now is the sniper level in Call of Duty and
rabid dogs.
Metro.
There's rabid dogs
there,
everywhere.
If you go into the metro, you can trade bullets for goods and services, and there's mutants down there. that was Chernobyl, right?
Pretty much. I mean,
okay, all right.
You got the location right.
And then also, another couple hundred years, there'll be super mutants. So I know that about radiation.
Yeah, never good. Never good at all.
Oh, man. Have you watched Good Girls?
I have not.
We started watching that just because there was nothing else to watch, and it seemed kind of interesting, and we're really getting into it. It is kind of like maybe a little funnier Breaking Bad with girl power.
Okay. Is that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Maybe I might have to check that one out. I just
Yeah,
go through
it's
and turn
not
on
bad.
I just turn on background noise right now because there's nothing good on. So I, all right, it's background noise of like NCIS or some other show that I've seen, and there's nonstop repeats of.
Yeah, that's The Office here. We've always got. If we're not watching something new, it's going to be The Office.
Yeah. Yep. But anything else this week that you've been looking at?
Well, I mentioned the moonshot that came out. NASA's wanting to go back to the moon before 2024.
Yeah, they went through and actually, what'd they do? Open up bids for a moon lander.
Yeah, they're wanting to kind of do government/private sector, which I think is a smart way to go, and then eventually set up an outpost on the moon, and then go to Mars from there. So that's pretty cool. I mean, a couple things.
Very interesting timing there, considering Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin company just did a whole press conference with a lunar lander that they created. They don't have a rocket that can carry it anywhere, but they have it built.
Yeah, I don't know. I just the press release is all like, "Hey, we're going to go to the moon, build an outpost there, and then start mining the moon for resources." And I don't know. I don't know if humanity is mature enough to to not just ruin the entire solar system.
Well, as far as ruining the solar system, did you hear about the controversy with SpaceX's new Starlink satellite constellation?
No.
So, did you hear anything about Starlink to begin with?
That's the internet thing, right?
Yes, that's basically they're launching satellites up to basically encompass the whole globe. So they just launched 60 satellites in one go. And they just kind of like launched it. They just threw it off and they're all drifting apart. And then they're going to go through and put them out into a almost like a net, gridwork net. But they have to go through and they said they're going to have to deploy like thousands of these Starlink satellites to be able to get full coverage around the globe. And people are freaking out because you put these 1,000 satellites would actually be more satellites than basically the world has already put into space. And they're like, if one of these goes down, how are you going to get to space? You're covering everything and creating a grid work so nobody can leave. But I'm excited for it because, I mean, you go through and you have a global internet. So it's no longer stuck on a global hotspot or a local hotspot. You literally, if you sign up for this service, you can just sign into Wi-Fi and you would have it no matter where you go.
Yeah, but the ping has got to suck.
They went through and they put this in low Earth orbit. So this is the only satellite constellation that actually does that. And they do have test satellites up there. And they said they were able to go through and stream like 4K video and things like that, and they were actually running systems on it and actually stress testing it. I forget how many like 4K videos they were able to go through and stream all at once. I think it was like 4 or 5 different videos all at one time on one computer, obviously for the satellite. But
I don't trust it. And the other thing, this is such an edge case too, but I'm really hoping these are all like geosynchronous orbits. Because as a astrophotographer, when I'm doing long exposure shots, satellites will ruin a still. So if there's thousands of these things going through, this is going to ruin that hobby.
Yeah, they're going to be low. They're low Earth orbit, so yeah, they're going to be... Yeah, they will affect. Because I think what the International Space Station is actually a lower Earth orbit too. I think they're going to be somewhere right around that orbit or a little bit lower, actually.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not too big and reflect a whole lot of light, it may not make that big of an impact, but we'll see.
Yeah, they're big in the sense if you stood next to them, but they're not big in the sense of space and actually going through launching compared to other satellites.
Nothing is big in the terms of space.
Well, I meant like other satellites that have been launched. These are smaller satellites, but they're large in the sense if you stood next to it, you'd be like, oh man, that's like the size of a car. But yeah, now that we went there and everything, let's start getting into some Star Wars news here.
Yeah. Well, big news is we had that Vanity Fair photo shoot come out. Did you get a chance to look at that?
Yeah, I did get a look at it, a lot of it, actually. Now that I think about it, it's like cool. I scrolled through real quick looking at it. Yeah.
Now if you're on all kinds of media blackout, you may want to skip forward a minute or two because this does have some spoilers about characters and locations and things like that.
I mean, that's a rough blackout there.
Yeah, some people are real serious about that stuff.
But yeah.
So
what do you find?
Yeah, we've got Kerry Russell's character. There's a whole lot of speculation about who she was going to play. Come to find out, she is going to be a bounty hunter named Zori Bliss.
All right, more bounty hunters. I like it.
Yeah. Got a little helmet too. It has almost kind of a Rocketeer vibe.
Okay, nice. So
I would definitely assume she's coming to the game. Richard Grant will be a First Order Allegiant General Pride, Pryde.
So basically like General Veers.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
A guy in name, but you're going to go... Or not Veers, but Stark.
Yeah.
General Stark. You're going to see him somewhere, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's where he was in the film. Then you see him, and everybody's like, huh? He was there? Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
Yeah, well, he's not Thrawn. That was a few rumors going around, so definitely not going to be Thrawn. He was not blue.
That you know of yet.
Now, they showed the desert planet. They named it. I have it in front of me, but it is not Jakku and it is not Tatooine.
Oh man, New Worlds. All right.
It's a new desert planet meant to pay homage to those, but not there. And interesting shots on that planet featured the Knights of Ren.
Oh yeah. I might actually farm the First Order then, or just the Knights of Ren.
So they are chilling or hanging out on the desert planet. Not sure what they're doing, but
getting a tan, obviously. Desert planet. What else do you do? Work on your tan.
It up.
Yes, I mean, speaking of new worlds and everything too, have you seen the new Star Wars Disney park started to open up? They've had some pricing and everything for their lightsaber shops, their droid shops. Have you seen any of these?
I didn't dig into the details. I'm kind of a media blackout for the Star Wars park of all things. 'Cause I know I'm not going anytime in the next year or so I'm just going to kind of keep it all a surprise.
They just have some crazy pricing. So they have a $25,000 droid listed.
Oh, okay.
Let me
start.
It is a full-size R2-D2 that is remote controlled and everything.
Does it fly?
Hey, why does it need to fly when you have a remote control and you can just wheel around?
Because it's $25,000.
But it's R2-D2.
I don't care.
It's not even BB-8. It doesn't even have a gyro in it. I don't know.
That's a little much. I need to be able to get I need to be able to get in that thing. Multiple meanings of that. Take it however you want for $25,000.
What are you talking about? That's like 25 marquee characters.
I guess so. Maybe by the time I go, I'll have enough couch change saved up to get one. Or I could get a second job as a stormtrooper because they are hiring for those apparently.
Yeah,
you gotta be at least 5'10". I am 5'9.5", so I might be a little short for a stormtrooper.
No, they'll just give you platform shoes. You're good.
Yeah,
can make that half-inch up. No, the stormtroopers are kind of interesting because at least for their soft launch, they're actually at the gate because all the guests that are actually going in get scanned in with their wristband, and their wristband is only active during the times they're allowed to be in there. So the stormtroopers are there to let people in, and then when they go through, apparently their RFID chips will light up for the stormtroopers, and they can see or figure out who with them are past their time zone, and they can usher them out. Basically, arresting them and basically hold guns up and holding them up. You must leave, and escorting them out of the park, at least for the soft launch.
There should be an unwritten rule: if you do a Jedi mind trick on them, you get 5 extra minutes in the park.
These are not the people you're looking for.
Right. And I'm like, all right, 5 more minutes, and for real, you got to go.
Yeah. I enjoy that, little things like that. That's Disney is doing to actually incorporate the Star Wars universe into the experience and actually going through and incorporating everything. It is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Disney owning the property, we wouldn't have this without Disney. No way another company would do it right.
I think they might have, but basically the whole idea and the whole everything behind the theme park would have been Disney inspired, because all the amusement parks, going over to Universal with their Harry Potter themed areas now, and even their Marvel themed areas now, are so heavily influenced by the way Disney has done things.
Yeah, good point.
So, I mean, I think they would have done it. I'm not sure if anybody would be able to do it as well as Disney, though. Especially that Hondo animatronic. Phew, man.
Yeah, that thing is awesome. Oh, speaking of Hondo, there were some legal issues with the voice actor behind Hondo, but looks like that's been cleared up. He is those accusations claimed. or at least they have not been proved. So, any potential hiccup with him being a voice actor seems to be past.
Yeah, that's always good. So,
Yeah, so we'll leave it.
yeah, we'll just leave it there. The last thing that I've actually been seeing is a lot of rumors about KOTOR movie rumors and coming up with Malik and Revan and basically everything we just lived through in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes over the last, year and a half, 2 years, coming up that it will be a trilogy of movies in the Old Republic. How do you feel about that?
Sure, okay.
What?
I've been seeing all these things too, and I don't know if it's.
I don't see how this is a bad thing because it is Jedi and Sith, lightsabers galore. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I definitely expect Revan to be canonized at some point, but I just don't know if I want just a recreation of something we've already played. Video game, it'd basically be a video game movie, and those never turn out.
I don't know if it actually would be, or if they're just using the characters because they can set the movie before the video game, before Revan lost his memory. It could be Revan actually being like Anakin coming up through the Jedi ranks.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just get excited because it just reminds me of all the fan fiction movies, like going through the Darth Maul one with a whole bunch of lightsaber battles. Anything with saber battles has me excited.
Yeah, I mean, big giant lightsaber battles is always cool. I just don't want to repeat stuff we've already done. I hope they can adapt it enough to where we get something cool out of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Anyway, that's so far off. We'll
down the rabbit hole. So let's get into the game on how you've actually managed over the last couple of weeks here. You get anything done?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Let's see, what did I get done? Oh, I got pad me up to Gear 12. Spent all of my stupid arena payouts on those damn new gear pieces, but got it done. And got the Emperor shuttle up to 7 stars. So finished my last Tar Node farm for a while.
Look at you. I don't even have the Emperor's shuttle unlocked. Oh, man. I need to work on that. My ships are severely lacking, but it's helping me in Grand Arena still.
Right.
With my GP balance when I'm 100k less than everybody in ships for my GP. But, yeah, my week's pretty much kind of the same way around you. I got a lot of character. Like I said, I was trying to finish off that Darth Revan team, so I have HK-47. He is max Gear 12 now. All his Gear 12 plus pieces are on him. Sith Trooper is also maxed. Malik is at 5 stars, but I have all the gear pieces possible on him. I did get Old Ben up to 7 stars, jeez, Gear 12. And then finally, I got those last 500 contracts done. IG-88 in that Bounty Hunter quest is done. So I am on to the next one. So I have to get Zam Wessel up to Gear 12, but I am through all the complete 500 contracts for a specific Bounty Hunter. And I timed it out perfectly, in which the next one, Zam Wessel, literally is listed as kill 1,000 Galactic Republic characters.
That's a few Galactic Republic characters.
That is a few, but who do you think you will be killing in the new Dark Side Territory battle?
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
So I couldn't time it out perfectly. I think I'll cruise right through that. It's just a matter of getting Zam Wessel, and there's going to be plenty of Galactic Republic characters I will be able to fight here shortly to be able to complete that quest. So, yeah, chugging along there, which is nice. So, we went through that. That's what we did over the last couple weeks. What do we have in the calendar? Do we have June out yet? Do we have any interesting information on the calendar?
No, not really. Unfortunately, we are recording on the 24th, so we got going into Grandmaster's training. We've got, we were going to have a 3v3 territory war, but that got scrapped. So we're just going back to plain old vanilla territory war, much to the celebration of our generals out there.
Yeah, the generals are excited, but I am not. I was really excited to see how guilds were going to go through and manage with the 3v3 attacks.
Yeah, I think it could have been interesting, but
I don't.
People.
Yeah, I understand people complaining about it, and it's new, and they don't know what to expect. But it's one time. I think it would have been worth to see how it played out.
Yeah. So we've got that, and then next week we've got another Grand Arena 5v5 characters and the Imperial Retaliation Territory Battle, which I'm crossing my fingers will be the last one of those we see for a while. I want something new. If you're looking for credit heist, we should have one on the 28th.
Yeah, it is coming up here. But yeah, I agree. Man, those territory battles maps are rough right now. So, did we have any EA news today? Or CG, not even EA, CG news this last couple weeks?
Well, yeah. I mean, we got the Dooku and Nute kits. We got their rework, and they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say.
They're interesting. I mean, I definitely think they're... I won't even say worth farming. I don't know where Dooku fits. His kit's very interesting, but I don't know where he fits in actually any team right now. Nute's kind of the same way. He fits in some teams, but the characters you have to go through and replace him with really aren't.
Well, they're a strong counter to Padme, so I really see them just being a hard counter to a Galactic Republic team for Territory Wars and Grand Arena.
Okay.
So I think we're going to see them used there. I think we're going to see them used on the Territory Battle map. I've seen some videos of Nute with a Grievous team able to take out Jedi Revan fairly easily.
Yes.
Doesn't seem like they're doing a whole lot of work against Darth Revan.
No, not at all.
I like having another Jedi Revan counter in my arsenal, so I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The kits do look good and everything. I just don't see, with the teams that I've been building, I don't see where they fit into teams I've been currently building. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, no, I really like. I do like Nute's kit though. It is with the extortion and the payoff and all that. It's a cool kit. I like it.
Oh yeah, no, it's very thematic. I do like it. Dooku's the same way with his repose.
Mm-hmm.
Technique.
The animation.
Yeah,
man, so good.
The animation, and that's taken off of his fighting style also, because it's very traditional. Basically, that's come from like a fencing term, repose. Just, it's really cool. I definitely like it, but like I said, I don't know where they fit. I've been trying to go through. I'm like, I like building those teams that it's a create it for Grand Arena. I have an idea. They're kind of flexible on the teams, and they're set it, mod it, good to go. And I can see where they're going with this, where they want you to have like that General Grievous team set up, and then it's like, oh, you want to go up against Padme? All right, well, you have to take one of those characters out and have Nute sitting there. And my problem is, well, when I take that one character out, what team do I put him in? Because he doesn't fit anywhere else but that team. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm really conflicted on how to go about farming them right now as far as gear-wise.
Yeah, and then I think we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show, but yeah, these characters coming out, they're in such a small box that you have to use them in. Like,
yes. The box.
So like with Padme, like if you're going to use her, you got to be prepared to farm up a whole team around her.
You better go through, and General Kenobi is a must. Jedi Knight Anakin is a must. Ahsoka is a must. Oh, but you could pick
Yeah.
that fifth spot all on your own. I mean, that all that theory
3 or 4
crafting,
Zetas.
right? Yeah, all that theory crafting. I mean, that's a ton of theory crafting right there with that one character that you can mess around with.
Yeah, but we'll get the salt going a little bit later.
Yeah.
We had the Galactic Upgrade Pack that came out. Were you able to get that?
I did
There was
not. I
I
looked
picked
at
it up. It was looking at the crystals and energy and everything you got. It was a decent bargain. I think I did get it for the dollar less when it first came out before they raised the price on it.
They're trying to squeeze every buck out of you.
Yeah, just when you see a good bargain like that, you got to be wondering what the other side of that coin's going to be.
I just don't understand that. It's like it accidentally goes for $6, and you're like, oh no, we have to go through and put it at 7 because we meant for it to be at 7. I'm like, you go through, put it at 6, just leave it at 6 then. Go through and say, yep, we made a mistake, and just own up to it and leave it at that lower price, because it's not fair to everybody to raise that price back up and say, well, you got it. Lucky you.
Yeah, especially since it was a one-time kind of purchase window. Yeah. Like when it first came out, it was it I think it said you could buy it every day.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so I was kind of looking forward to that. I may would have dropped $20 or so, but bought it once, whatever. Let's see. Well, Ebon Hawk came farmable on Cantina, pretty much exactly when we called it.
On Cantina, though, we were not expecting that.
Yeah, I did expect to get a hard node. Hey, I'll take it.
Although
that's a little nice.
Although I feel horrible right now, though, because it went into the node for Gar Saxon, and Gar Saxon got moved to an 8 energy Cantina node. So glad I farmed Gar Saxon off a 16 energy Cantina node. You know, it makes me feel really good about that.
Yeah,
and also the state of Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon is so good, we had to lower him down to an 8 energy Cantina node.
Oh, poor Gar.
He's so worth having. We're going to put him way down here.
Right.
Oh.
I think his time will come, too. He'll get a tune-up one of these days.
Yeah, that'll be along with the faction for the Mandalorians coming.
Yeah.
But...
Well, in good news, more good news, we had a quality of life update that dropped the challenge timer from 2 minutes down to 5 seconds. This is the best thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think it was 3 minutes originally. Originally, what was it originally? 8 minutes?
It was like 10 minutes originally. Yeah. 8 to 10 minutes.
Oh. Well,
and you couldn't sim it.
Well, by the time you went back around after playing it all the way through, you basically just had an endless loop. But
man, back in my day when we had Sunday challenges, that was an hour ordeal.
Yes, it was. It was very much an hour ordeal. And now with this 5-second timer, I can literally go through, get my 600, all my hard nodes, all my challenges, and it takes me 10 minutes and gear. And I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Yeah. I'm like, there's nothing else for me to do. Yeah, okay.
I'm kind of curious of kind of what the point of this is, because they really like pushing a engagement number. How many hours does the player spend in the game? And
not even
lessening that.
Yeah. That hours spent in the game and times of login. How many times you're actually logging into the game.
So this seems counterintuitive to some of those goals. So I just wonder if something else is coming that will take that place.
I mean, we went through and we're talking about time spent in the game. So I'm wondering if something new's coming out in which they're going to require a little bit more time.
I mean. That's what I mean. They're freeing up time in this to let you spend it somewhere else. It's also makes me a little pessimistic that challenges aren't going to get an update.
Oh,
Because
don't
you're looking
tell
at
me
looking
that.
at I know, but you're looking at 30 seconds worth of work in the game. I don't see getting a whole lot more out of that.
But I need challenge eyeballs. I need those challenge gold
I do too.
eyeballs. Oh,
Too.
come on.
There's there's one thing that men want, and it's disgusting.
Gold,
Stun guns.
gold eyeballs and Carbantes right behind there.
That's
Oh.
it. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully something else is going on. So that was kind of the CG side of the house. Kind of in broader video game industry news, there were some things going on. EA posted their quarterly results. They beat their earnings estimates. You know, say what you will about EA and loot boxes and all that. They're making more money than people thought they would. So
I don't think that has to do with these games. I think it has to do with their very strong system of Madden and FIFA and things like that.
Madden, FIFA, and a little game called Apex Legends.
Yeah, you know, that would do it too. But, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I went through the earnings call. Galaxy Heroes was not mentioned by name at all. Again, they were beating the drum on Fallen Order, trying to build up hype for that. They talked about Madden a lot. Of course, they talked about Apex all day long. They did talk about their mobile games in general. They made $135 million on the quarter. It was down 23% year over year, and they cited declines in aging titles, which I would assume Galaxy Heroes is considered an aging title. And these were not offset by Command & Conquer Rivals. I think they expected that game to do a little better than it has.
So
But
out of that 132, Galaxy of Heroes did 32 million of that for the quarter,
Okay.
which would have been up against 43 million last year.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's still a
Galaxy-
pretty good chunk of
Yeah,
their mobile catalog.
yeah. I was gonna say Galaxy of Heroes is a very large portion of that 132 million, and I don't see any other mobile game creating that much for
No.
EA themselves.
Right. And overall, the mobile business, is highly profitable for them. I mean, they're getting contribution margins of 40%.
Yeah, I believe it.
The money they're spending in this, they're making tons of money off of it. So,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of talk about the game dying and being in decline, and just looking at a chart. And there's more to it than that. The game's not going to die because the team got nerfed or a player count dropped. The game will die when EA pulls the plug because they're not making the money on the resources that they can make somewhere else.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be argued about what lets them make money and all that. But I think we're safe. I don't think this game's going anywhere, at least through Rise of Skywalker and the hype cycle past that. As long as they're making that much money, they're not just going to shut it off. Because, I mean, it's minimal work at this point.
Yeah, that, and I mean, you had The Mandalorian and all these other shows coming out. So
Yeah, there's a
Clone Wars coming back out, the animated series, yeah, Mandalorian. So yeah, there's plenty of going through. It's right now. It just seems
there's
like
fertile ground to till if they want to.
I just think it seems like a lull, just because right now there's been a larger gap between new content for Star Wars right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like that. It seems also that CG went through and created a plan for last year going into this year, and that transition that we were talking about that they had to make, because it seemed like they were hammering us all at one time. This is what we're going to go through and do, and they weren't diversifying what they were working on. I think this is the lull in which they kind of had to create to find room to actually create it and implement it well. Because it could have very well been like the last Darkside territory battles if they pushed this new territory battle map out this month or early or late last month. Just plagued with bugs and no one, could have been very, very bad.
Right. And also, I think just in the overall zeitgeist right now, Star Wars is kind of in a calm before the storm. All nerd eyes have been on Endgame. All nerd eyes have been on Game of Thrones. So we got that out of our system. It's full steam ahead to Star Wars now. I mean, this Vanity Fair was kind of we had Celebration, and all this happened, and I think now we're going to start really ramping up toward these movies. And we got Fallen Order. They're going to be hyping up. We've got comic books coming out. It's going to be all over the place, and that is going to drive newer players to the game, which we've talked about it before. They really need to work on a way to onboard and capture these new players so they're not so overwhelmed by this game.
And I mean, I think overall they've done a good job over the last couple of years doing that to create a progression in which of teams you want to work towards, and there's a very linear progression of building teams towards the end game, both for raids, getting legendary characters, getting territory battle map characters for Grand Arena teams. It is a very good progression. I did write, it seems odd that they would go through and change that 8 hard node attempts down to 5 because they created that progression and the characters are in single hard nodes. If they had these in 2 different nodes and everything, I think it would have been fine at 5, but the majority of them are all single nodes. 8,
you know what? Just
it just slows everything.
Increase the drop rate on the Bronzium packs. Increase the reoccurrence of some of the events that award these shards. I mean, there's ways to make it up.
Oh yeah,
to let newer players catch up, which I think they really need to look at.
Yeah, if they do that, I can understand going down to 5. But right now they haven't done that, and I think that's a detriment to newer players. For me, it's going to slow down my last couple farms, but it's not going to prevent me from actually finishing out the collection and getting them all at 7 stars. It's just going to take me an extra month or 2 or something like that. It's not going to affect me, but the newer players coming in saying, hey, you have to fight all these characters and they're all on a single hard node and you only get 5 attempts a day.
Yeah.
Man, looking
at my numbers, and this is anecdotal, I'm really not taking that much longer to finish out a character than I was at 8, but it is a longer amount of time. Kind of lose my train of thought here, but that's just for one character. So if it takes me an extra 3 to 4 days, maybe a week at the most to max it out, it doesn't seem that bad for me because it's one character at a time. But for a newer player, like you said, if I'm doing this for 5 or 6 characters, then that time really adds up, and it's
not
an extra month or 2 before they can finish the team out.
Yeah, not even 5 or 6. You have to go through and multiply that. That's just for one event. You're talking about by the time you do CLS, JTR, Jedi Knight Revan, Darth Revan, Padme, CLS. I mean, you're talking a good, 30, 40 characters that you need. And they're all on hard nodes. Yep. So, yeah, it's just...
Something's got to give.
Yeah, something's got to give there. And I'm only saying that for newer players onboarding. That way they aren't overwhelmed and it actually seems like they're making a good progression within the game itself.
Right. Well, that may all be for naught because they are looking at loot box legislation. Have you seen this story come out?
Yeah, I have. They went through and did an announcement and said, well, I think it was over in Europe. They already made a ruling in which this doesn't qualify, so they're more than happy to give them the court ruling that has already been issued. So
Well,
we'll see where it goes from there. I don't know. I could see both sides on which they're saying their side. I definitely do see it as gambling based on percentages and everything is just like playing slots.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are some skeezy things that happen. I totally get that. And I think we've talked about this before too, but what's and I'm really, really going to try to keep my political stances out of this as much as I can. But they've introduced legislation to try to ban loot boxes, which on paper sounds good. And they give it a name, Protecting Our Children Act or whatever. Anytime you have an act with a name like that, you really gotta look carefully at it, because all the really crappy ones have names like the Patriot Act and crap like that. But I digress. Anyway, okay, are loot boxes skeezy? Do children need to be exposed to that? No. Do I trust the government to understand the nuances of a loot box and put laws into place that get it right? Absolutely not. Be quite honest, our government is full of idiots when it comes to technology. They just don't understand it. Look at net neutrality.
Yeah.
It's so the options are going to be let people that are completely clueless about the difference of a random drop in an RPG. You beat a boss and you get a random item versus a loot box where you buy, a thing, you get so many character shards. Are they going to really understand the difference between that? I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong.
Yeah, more than likely they will not. I think over time, yes, something will happen and they will understand it, but right now, probably not.
Yeah, I really think the gaming industry really needs to step their game up, no pun intended, and self-regulate. Identify some of the skeezier, scummy acts are doing. And it's going to be hard, but let that money go. Like, do you really need to make your money that way? I don't know. There's a lot of it, and then you have the video game industry in general, and it I'm really getting on the rabbit hole here, but it's funny to me how outraged gamers will get if some animation is messed up in a game or there's a loot box or anything like that, and they are on Twitter, they are lighting the world on fire with salt. But artists, people making these games, working 100-hour weeks with no benefits, because they're considered a contractor, and then just being fired at the end of the game. Nobody says a peep about this, and it's shitty. I think gamers need to be as mad about that as everything else. I mean, look at EA's making $135 million just on mobile. How much of that is actually going to the creators, the artists, and the people that are working those hours?
40%,
probably not.
40% margin. I bet. Well, yeah, 40% margin. So that going through out of that 60% is overhead, building, and payroll. So yeah. You're looking at what? Quick math, 65. So what? Yeah, you're looking at what? Somewhere right around 70 million goes into that. Yeah. But overhead is going to be a lot more than actually pay. Well, payroll is going to be the majority of that. But there's a lot of people to split that up between, and that's not including the proportion of.
Right. Well, you got to give the executives their bonuses.
Yep.
And
exactly.
Pay out your dividends and all that fun stuff. Money is being made, but of course that's. Hey, thanks for joining the Cantina Biz Look. capitalism podcast featuring snippets of Galaxy here. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Loot box legislation's out there. There's been talk about that. We'll see where it goes. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's a complicated issue, and I don't trust them to get it right. But if you have questions about loot boxes and the Galactic Upgrade Pack, you have your chance to ask CG.
Yeah, they went, kind of asked CG. They went through and opened up a survey in which you could go through and submit a question for them to answer so they could pre-populate a response, in which they will be going through and posting this on Wednesday, May 29th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, in which they will post the answers, and then from 2 to 3, I believe they said they would be on there for an hour to go through and answer any questions that come up within that forum post.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I can't fault them for doing that. And they said they are not going to avoid the hard questions. So ask away. You may not get the answer you want, or they'll probably get a whole lot of can't comment or speculate on this right now.
Corporate speak. All right. Love it.
But ask away.
Now, I did have a question. You went through and told me about this. My first thought, actually, most of our thoughts were, man, this territory battle map is coming out pretty shortly. Do you think they're going to give us some hints on, or at least some more information on the territory battle map, so we know?
I hope so.
Yeah, so that we can see if there's new characters that we need to farm up for the map, what teams we need to use, in which we need to farm. Are there any specific quirks to modify territory battles in general for these to be able to maximize rewards? What rewards are we going to get?
Yeah, I mean, so I kind of see this Q&A going one of two different ways. One, if we're not getting any news before the 29th, this is kind of their chance to clear the air, let the community get it out of their system, all that before they announce all this new stuff and then generate a whole bunch of other questions.
And then
that's
run
one way
away.
they could go about it. Yeah. The other way they could go about it is give us the information and then have this a chance for the community to ask questions about the new information, which I hope that's the way they go.
It's going to allow them to answer a very specific amount of questions rather than keeping it very broad, in which people will go through and get angry and can focus down on probably questions they don't want to answer, where if they do it that way, they can expect, hey, we're just going to get questions on this new map and we can actually answer them, and we are going to be able to weed out a lot of these other questions because we can distract people, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, talking about this, it leads me to what we've been talking about, at least the last couple times, with Grand Arena, because I'm still going through, like I said, I'm 2-1, almost every Grand Arena, and I do stand a chance in the final. I don't really get blown out. Where you're going through, you're winning 1? If you're lucky.
I'm getting trashed every Grand Arena.
Yeah, in which I don't know what made it come to my mind. The new territory battle map. All right, that was based on GP. So will this new territory battle map make people upgrade their characters and increase their GP for the benefit of the guild? Will that help balance out that Grand Arena matchmaking that you're struggling with? Because those guys are sandbagging their GP to match up with you, and you don't have guys below you raising their GP to run into you, where it could start balancing out like CG wanted it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, matchmaking is just so all over the place right now. I know they've said they're updating their algorithms and formulas for matchmaking.
Yeah, it basically sounds like they were going to go through and exclude part of the lower end of the roster or something like that. But I agree with them that the galactic power is a very good way to do the matchmaking. It's just we always talk about it with this game. People are going through min-maxing their galactic power now. They're going through and stripping mods off characters they don't use. They're going through getting shards for characters, but aren't even unlocking them or starring them up until until they can actually use the character. They're trying to forcibly lower their GP, where if they went through and through their progression, level the characters, put a little bit of gear on them, even start up the characters, their galactic power would go back up and you would get a little bit better matchmaking. I think this is just an unintended consequence of the matchmaking that CG implemented.
Right, and they want people to have a broad, as they say, going broad.
Yeah, a diverse roster,
collection of characters and ships. Right.
And my thought is
we'll see how this green arena.
Yeah, if it's based on galactic power, do you think it will force people to increase their GP for the benefit of the guild?
No. Yeah. So, I think as long as their individual matchups, they have an advantage, they're going to keep trying to optimize that.
But what about rewards? What if the rewards benefit doing that?
If the rewards make up what you may potentially lose in your single matchups, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought. Say just the guild event token currency, say that goes up whatever percentage it was from like Wampa and Hoda to what Malik was. Say everything got bumped up that percentage. Man, that is a lot of galactic event token currency in which you could go through and buy gear. Say territory battle map had those drop rates and its specific gear to get that final piece of gear 12. There could be a lot of things in which you're going through. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere on there, we just saw it with Malik. Say that final day of territory battle maps requires a specific faction at a specific galactic power rating.
I could see that.
So you go through, I mean, they might go through and start forcibly making people go through and increase their GP. And I could see maybe a guild divide, another breaking of guilds, in which you're going to have guilds that are strictly focused on territory wars. And Grand Arena, they're trying to dump their GP, get better matchups, and you have other guilds that are, all right, well, we want to be well-rounded. We'll try in territory wars. We'll do the teams and everything like that, but we want you to go through and maximize your galactic power also because we want these rewards.
Yeah, that's possible, and it's going to be interesting, too, because we're in the middle of a pretty good shakeup right now. I think with the Malik and Padme and everything going on, we've had a lot of burnout recently. So I think a lot of guilds are consolidating and kind of figuring it out. So I hope we don't have too much of a shakeup because of this. I
honestly think that's more not so much coming from burnout from all those events happening back to back to back. I think it's more of this down/slow time we're having in the game, in which people are starting to get caught up on projects and people are kind of reevaluating where they are in the game. They just essentially have too much time to think. I enjoy that, though. I enjoy going through, farming these characters, farming these teams, and actually seeing them get completed. What are some of your projects that you're working on with this downtime? Because, I mean, we have absolutely nothing on our marquee watch. It is completely empty. There's no characters out. All of them are free to play. All of them are in nodes or farmable locations. What projects are you working on?
Well, me, I'm working toward the Geonosian territory battle map. I've think I've got my Separatist in a good spot. I'll farm up B1, get him finished probably tomorrow, and gear 12 all of them. So I'll have at least 2 good squads of Separatists. Working on Galactic Republic, because we'll eventually get the light side version of it. So trying to finish up Ahsoka and probably Barriss, but I'm not quite sure on her, because I do think there'll be another 5th that'll come along and take her place. That's really it. I've got, for Grand Arena, for Territory Wars. I've said it before. I'm like an 85 to 90% player. I'll get a team good enough to be a good PvE team and be serviceable in some of these PvP events. Like, my Nest is still gear 11. My Bastila light side is still gear 11. So I've got a lot of characters I could.
Ouch, man, those are.
I know.
Oh man,
good characters.
Oh.
And I haven't needed to finish them out.
The pain. So you were getting first with your Jedi Knight Revan team with a gear 11 Bastila.
I wasn't using Bastila. I was using
oh, okay.
Chewbacca. So then Chewbacca gear 12. And
man, you are missing out on the experience of Bastila Shan in there, just loading up.
I use her now as my anti-Karth team. So she still gets some use. It's a little squishy, not quite as powerful, but I can squeeze a win out most of the time.
I recommend going in and finishing those characters, man.
There's so many stun guns. So many stun guns.
Oh, especially Nest. So good. So good.
I know, but she needs 3 stun guns. I'm just not prepared.
You just put her in there with a team and you hit auto and they attack her and then she attacks back and then they're all dead. 1v5. Done.
Yeah, depending on how my farming goes, I'm looking to be done with every farm in the game here in the next week or 2. If nothing else comes out to spend crystals on, I will probably start spending my crystal payout on gear and just buying those, because I just don't feel like farming them.
Yeah, I don't even know what projects I'm working on. I mean, I'm obviously finishing up that Darth Revan team, but that's pretty much buttoned up. I need 1 piece, and I can only get it from the Sith raid, so I can't do anything other than wait. So, only other team I'm really wanting to finish up is I need 2 more pieces on Karth. That way I can get that second KOTOR team, all at gear 12. And then I don't know if I'm going to go.
I might actually go back and finish gear 12 in my Ewoks. I never did that.
Oh, yeah, I got gear 12 Ewoks. They're fun against First Order.
Yeah. Gear 12 Ewoks, finishing up Gear 12 Phoenix. They're not a spotlight team anymore by any stretch, but I like them and I use the ships.
Yeah, I have them at Gear 12 also, but I'm kind of batting back and forth on where I want to go. If I want to get that Gear 12 General Grievous team ready to go for Padme coming back, or do I want to go through, create that Padme team, or round out my bounty hunters? Get Zam Wessel to Gear 12. Get Django to Gear 12.
Yeah, bounty hunters is a good one. That is, you're right there. They are very useful.
So, yeah, I have a couple ideas of where I want to go. I do have 3 Zetas saved up also that I can go through and play somewhere.
I'm a Zeta, man. One sitting on right now. I'm probably going to put it on Ahsoka, but I'm just... My team's not ready to go yet, so until it is, I'm not going to dump the Zetas on it. I still have that nagging in the back of my mind that Sith ships are going to be meta somehow, somewhere along the line.
Oh.
And if I've got to gear those pilots up for anything, that's going to be painful. My Sith Assassin never got any gear back from the refund, and Sith Marauder... Well,
still sitting there.
Sith Marauder.
Yeah. Agreed. Mine's the same way. I don't even have those ships start up. I am working on the characters first, and then I will work on the ships. So that kind of leads me to the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which we kind of talked to about a little bit earlier in the podcast as we were going through things, is watching videos, going through. It's been crazy at work, so I've been trying to go through and keep up with the game. And
yeah, they're missing you in Discord,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, crazy thing at work. It going through doing work and not sitting at a computer all day. It is this crazy thing. It's really disappointing.
Damn you, capitalism.
Yeah. Jeez. Put me in charge of a project and making me talk to people rather than on Discord. It's a horrendous thing. But it going through, got a chance today, was sat down, was able to listen to a podcast, and it kind of dawned on me in which, man, that had to have been when we first started the podcast, that we were talking about, we really wish teams like Night Sisters and Imperial Troopers, I'm trying to think of other teams, even the Sith to some extent, that all the teams we were using did not work in a theme. The synergistic teams that we thought were there never worked as well as a really good theory crafted team that's a mixed match of a auto-taunting tank with a leadership ability with a glass cannon like TIE Fighter pilot. And now the game has basically did a complete 180 when it comes to this. They started doing those synergy teams with Night Sisters, and you're like, all right, that's a really cool use of that team. You can kind of mix and match two teams in there, and you can kind of go through, and there's plug and play characters depending on how you wanted to build the team, whether it was using a Mother Talzin lead or a Saj lead. You can coordinate on what type of team you want to build of the Night Sisters, which was cool. Imperial Troopers were the same way. You had Veers and Stark, and then there's a hodgepodge of troopers that you can place in there and still create a very good team. Then we started running into these newer characters. Traya came out, and Traya pretty much lists specifically Scion and Nihilus. There's really no way around it. You have to run those three together. But you can play with the other two slots. So, okay, not too bad. Jedi Knight Revan. That team is pretty solid, except for one rotating spot, which, other than you, Stan, running Chewbacca in there, the oddball in here.
Right.
And they're calling out specific characters, and basically they lay out the team. Darth Revan came in. Man, the whole kit and the leadership ability basically forces you to run Darth Revan, HK-47, Bastila Shan Fallen, Malik, and then you basically need another tank. So you're running either Sith Trooper or Sith Marauder. There's really no way around that team. It is spelled out for you. You were just...
I'm seeing it. Well, I will say I am seeing some Thrawn in there, and I'm seeing some Grandmaster Yoda in there as well. So there's a little wiggle room, but you're right. There's not as much as it used to be.
Stan, stop getting crazy. Stop getting crazy over there.
I'm saying,
theory crafting is going insane. You are flip-flopping one character. That is just... Whew. That is intense right there. That is some intense theory crafting with that one character swap. And then, like I said, one character swap, Padme. You were already talking about it. It's Padme, General Kenobi, Jedi Knight Anakin, Ahsoka, and then a fifth. They have completely flip-flopped what made a lot of these players, and why I started going on YouTube and following a lot of the YouTubers like Smithy D, the original Lord Skunk live streams on Friday nights, because they were theory crafting new arena teams, creating and going over the triple cleanse and all these teams that took a hodgepodge of, it didn't matter the faction, they were looking at the abilities to create a good team that worked together. And now it's basically you read the kit and whatever characters are listed within the abilities is you put them together and you gear them up. And the only wiggle room in theory crafting is mods. And I do not know how I feel about the theory crafting element of the game being just how you mod the character.
Yeah, it's speed. that's the answer. Who has the fastest speed?
Yeah, it's speed, or then there's oddball characters that take oddball mods, like going through and having just a ton of health secondary mods for General Grievous, different protection primaries for certain tanks. There's some oddballs in there, but yeah, your theory crafting is mods, and it's not even going through. It's like, it's not what type of mods you put on. It's how much RNG did you get to be able to get those mods. Which, if it was just mods in general and they had a flat stat and you were kind of mix and matching mods to upgrade stats, okay, I can kind of see that. But there's so much of an RNG factor within mods themselves that it doesn't seem as rewarding to me of the theory crafting.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of different reasons for why this is happening. One, there's power creep. You know, they've really got to be careful not to break the game with some of these abilities they got coming out.
Yeah, and we've actually seen that quite a bit. People start going through and doing theory crafting and coming up with those abilities and those unintended consequences within a team, and they get nerfed very, very quickly.
All right.
It's like that Palpatine.
So I think
that Palpatine team working against Malik. All of a sudden, Malik got changed. So guess what? That team didn't work anymore.
Yeah. So I think there's that. And I think, and this maybe a little tinfoil hat, maybe not. I don't know, but it also creates a market for new characters. If you're very limited on teams you can use, it's very easy to sell a character that fits into that team that makes it that much better.
Yeah. I mean, that works to some extent, but the way they created the teams, that they aren't creating one character that fits into a team. They're creating 5 because they're creating the whole team now.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's kind of the appeal to me of the bounty hunters, because you can mix and match the characters based on who you're going up against, how hard you want them to be on defense, and how you want to play them. Because, I mean, you can do a Zam lead, you can do a Django lead, obviously a Bosk lead. There's a lot of very good leadership abilities based on how you want to play bounty hunters.
Yeah. Sorry. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't really know what the answer is. The game's not much fun when you can't theory craft as much.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I mean, I don't know whether that's just because we don't have a raid really pushing that, and all these teams that come out basically, I mean, they put up millions in the Sith raid without an issue. I mean, you go in just with any mods and hit auto, and you can get a couple million off these new teams.
Oh, yeah.
So there's really no even theory crafting for that, for these characters, or mix and match, because their kits don't incorporate into anything else. They call out specific characters, so it's like, oh, that team works in there. I can't even theory craft into a raid. Grand Arena, I mean, you get it a little bit, but it's mainly, like I said, it's that open slot. It's taking your teams, which we've talked about before, plugging in Nest into a team, plugging in B2 Super Battle Droid into a team, plugging in Wampa into a team, just to kind of mess with those traditional counters. But it's taking one character and plugging it in. It's not like you're going through and just doing a hodgepodge of characters. Although those auto assign teams in which it's just pure galactic power in a row, man, those teams are hard to beat sometimes.
Yeah, they throw some curveballs out there sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, you go through and you're like, how the hell am I gonna get around these guys? But yeah, do you have anything to add before we start wrapping things up here?
Not really. I mean, it's without a whole lot of new stuff coming out. It's hard to see where they're going. I think once we get the new territory battle map, we'll probably get some news on different modes. It may paint a little clearer picture. It's they're doing a lot of things too outside of the box. They're changing things up, and the marquee schedules not what we're used to. Some of the events are not what we're used to.
Wait a second. The marquee schedule's not what we used to? You mean right now it's non-existent?
Exactly. Yeah. We used to have at least 3 or 4 of it at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, more.
So they're
more
trying
than
different things. We'll
yeah,
give them the benefit of the doubt right now.
Yeah, and by no
we'll see what
means do I
happens.
think the game's in a bad spot or anything. I just think right now it's just a lull within Star Wars universe itself and excitement around it, and also they're in a point in their development time in which they're starting to ramp up, I think, for the next session, part of the game. And I'm kind of hoping it's really a lull time because they're going through and looking at increasing the level cap or gear or something like that, and they were spending the time. There's a lot of characters. If you're increasing the level or gear level to up to 13, in which they're going through and looking at balance for characters and giving them different upgraded stats to go through and balance out the game a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that I'm not happy with in the game right now, and we talked about it, is just the mod meta. I mean, right now, if you're running Malik, it's all about mods. There's no strategy. It's whoever goes first wins, and that is not fun.
Yeah, the mods are.
If I had to complain about any part of the game, that would be it right now. But metas come, metas go. It'll pass.
I'm going to ask you about this with mods, because I know what I don't like about mods, and it has nothing to do with actually the speed. Do you dislike mods just because of the amount of RNG needed to get good mods, or do you dislike mods because of the speed in general? Just the way you have to mod characters, like, oh, it's just all about speed. Or are you just kind of dislike mods because of how much RNG it's taking to get those speed mods?
Yeah, it's kind of both. I mean, you have to have such good RNG to get speed where you need it to be effective, and the fact that that's pretty much the only answer, it kind of builds on each other. Mm-hmm. If I could get away with more mod strategy and not have to hit the lottery every time I get a mod, it wouldn't be so bad.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too. It's not that I dislike mods. I like the mods. I like being able to go through and increase the stats and everything for a character to make them work based on the team that I'm trying to create. I dislike it because it's an RNG factor on how well I can make a team.
Right. If I could do more with the mods and just more useful ones,
yeah,
it'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, because I'm like going through, I'm like, oh, this could be a really cool team. I need to mod it that way. And I look at my mods and I'm like, well, I don't have the mods to do that, so I can't even attempt to see if what my theory crafting was to see if that team would work. It's not feasible for me to even try that out because just don't have the mods for it. So, on that note, let's get into the bump and grind list here.
Oh, yeah.
Which we kind of did go over. You said you're working on your Galactic Republic.
That's it, yeah.
And I'm really just working on Karth right now. That's the only character I really have to get to Gear 12, and then I am going to do rock, paper, scissors or something to figure out where I'm going from there. I might end up just gearing up Droideka and kind of leaving it at that, because I know I need Droideka geared up, so have General Grievous at gear 12, pretty much all his gear on him already. So Jordica would allow me to get Padme, from the sounds of it, pretty easily. So I might just gear him up and go from there.
It's a fun team, too, and you'll definitely need it for territory battles, so it's not a bad investment.
Yeah, and then I'll decide on B1 or something like that from there. But, yeah, I mean, you're just working on hard nodes gear there because, yeah, lucky.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up Embo, Droideka, and Range Trooper. I mean, Embo's getting there, Range Trooper's getting there. It's closing up, in which I'm gonna start running out of things. So it's actually nice seeing that everything round out and get finished up.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer.
Yeah, and I mean, you went over everything else with Cantina. You're finishing up the Ebon Hawk, and that you said you're. How close are you with B1?
One shard.
So about 5 days.
Yeah. The way drop rate's been going. No, I should have it tomorrow.
Okay.
By the time this podcast goes up, I'll have a shiny 7-star B1.
Challenge accepted. See if I can actually get it up before you get it done. And then the guild store. I think I'm done buying gear since I got my Darth Revan team geared up now. Then I'm going to start buying Malak shards and doing that long grind, getting him up to 7 stars until something else shiny shows up. And what
That's
are you,
a good plan.
Yeah, what are you doing? Are you going to actually start buying gear there?
No, I'm still saving up all my currency until I hit that 80,000 mark. I'm just gonna stay strong.
Such a hoarder. Such a hoarder.
It's building up fairly quickly. I'm at 20,000 right now.
See, and if you went through and spent that just on stun guns, you could have a shiny Gear 12 nest.
Maybe, yeah. Be close.
No, I just think you're stalling there because you don't want to spend the currency on stun guns.
I don't. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. 240 for 5.
Yep. I buy them every time they show up.
20,000 would almost get me 50. Would almost get me 1 stun gun.
Hey, between that and then shard shop currency, regular farming, you're there. You are there.
I'm going to Scrooge McDuck it.
Oh, dear. He's going to wait for the next new shiny thing to come out, jump right on it, and get him up to Gear 11 and leave him there.
So right now I am in my 1920 swimsuit, swimming through my big giant tower full of galactic event tokens.
Oh, man. And on that note, I need out of this panic room before I get swallowed up with galactic event tokens that Stan has hoarded in the corner. And they're coming out of the vents. Yeah. So let's wrap this up so I could smash my way out of here. Man.
Yeah, I've got to go play. I gotta go play with my 3-legged cat. They found its forever home. We'll be giving it up Monday, so we'll be very sad about that. Oh.
Yeah. Did you post pictures?
I don't think I did. I will though.
I was gonna say I wasn't on Discord that much, but I'm pretty sure I didn't see pictures. So I'm sure everybody's very disappointed they aren't seeing the cat running around, traumatizing you on your phone.
I don't know if it's a run. It's kind of a little sideways hop. He can move though. Surprisingly enough, that little dude's fast.
All right, anyway, let's get on out of here. Here.
Yep. All right, y'all know the deal. Leave us a review on iTunes, your podcast server of choice. Check us out on thealliancegaming.com, along with all kinds of other great content creators. Email us, cantinavizla@gmail.com. Join our Discord. We would love to chat with you and show you cat pictures. Link to that is in the show notes. And if so inclined, check us out on that site that I can't think of right now. Patreon.com/cantinavizla. It is late. It's been a very long week.
And we did get a new Patreon, too.
We did, yeah. Oh, shoot.
I have it right here for you. In bold.
Oh, okay, that is new. How the hell do you pronounce this, man? I see your name all the time. Casey, QECE. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they went through and messaged me. So really appreciate you going through and doing that. Glad you enjoyed the podcast, and thanks everybody for listening. We do enjoy going through and doing this. I know we don't get every week. Real life game is kind of slow, so trying to actually come up with content sometimes. So message us as far as Discord or anything like that. I try to get back to everybody. It gives us ideas on what you guys are interested in hearing in the podcast and us talking about, and it also allows us to have something to springboard off of when we are actually writing our outline and actually deciding what to go over in the podcast itself.
Yeah, for sure. We fill this outline out during the week, and if we got a whole bunch of listener questions, we throw them in the outline. That really motivates us to record sooner rather than later before this outline gets way out of hand.
Yeah. And when it's slow and the outline's really short, we kind of look at it and go, what else are we going to do? So thanks again, guys, and let's get on out of here. Until next time, guys. Later.
Yeah.
As you are exiting the cantina, we would like to say thanks for stopping by, and we hope to see you out on the hollow table soon.